welcome back to my channel True Crime and Trials, where I discuss true crime and trials. My name's Lindsay and I'm back with the Durst trial. As I said in my previous short video with the Zachary Wester sentencing, the weather is really hot here, so I've been trying to enjoy it because it ends this week. We have to make the most of it in England. And I've been trying to catch up with the Durst trial. They have spent days going over the Galveston trial. They've had students reading it out. They've had one sat in the witness box and one stood at the podium, and they've been reading out everything from the Durst trial. I did hear yesterday that they are planning on showing the movie All Good Things as well. So I have watched it. For those of you that are following this trial, I suggest you go watch it so you can follow along. It is a good movie. And if you're remembering Doug Durst's testimony, he says, you know, the portrayal of his father isn't right. But you get the general gist of the relationship between Robert, Bob and Kathy, and a lot of what's being said is actually in that movie. So I suggest you go and watch it. It is a good movie. It is quite interesting. So I'll get on with the next witness, who is Ben Hodges, and he is a water movement expert, and he explains that it's the tides and winds that affect the water. He then tells the jury that tides only occur every 12 hours in Texas, and one of the bays that he concentrates on is Galveston Bay. He became involved in this case because it's his understanding that the DA's office was calling around and looking for people in oceanography, and a professor referred the DA's office to him. He was asked for this case, amongst other things, to determine whether if a head had been deposited in the Galveston Bay in a particular area at the same time as the other body parts that had been recovered, whether that head would have been expected to have been recovered along with the other body parts. So he confirms that the areas that were searched at the time were adequate, and he has no doubt about that, and the tidal currents were not capable of moving any body parts out of the search area. The head could not have been carried out by the sea further than the area that was searched. He also agrees that had the head been thrown in the bay at the same time as the other body parts, he would have expected that the head would have been located along with those other body parts. He says that if it was thrown in, then someone had to have removed it, or it wasn't thrown in at all. So the cross-examination, Mr. DeGuerin asks him whether it's possible that the dive team at the time just simply missed the head, because obviously, you know, the water, you couldn't see anything, and the search was all on touch, you know, what they could feel. And Ben says, from looking at the logs at the time of the search, and all the information from the dives that they did, he says it's just not a possibility that they could have just missed it. He says there was one high tide and one low tide a day in Galveston Bay, but Ben doesn't know what it was when they searched it. The redirect, I mean, I wonder if he could go back on the days that it was searched and find out what tide it was when they searched it. The redirect, so Mr. Balian asked him to assume that if the head had been thrown in triple bagged, remember there was empty garbage bags found that had slashes in them. So he asked if the head had been thrown in triple bagged, then taken out again by someone, torn out of the 3 bags and the empty bags thrown back in, where would those empty bags have ended up? And he says they would have still been in that search area. And as far as Ben is aware, there is no marine life in that area that would tear a 2-foot hole in a black bag. Ben sees no need to search the 30 miles across Galveston Bay for the head. You know, the defence have got a point. You know, there probably is a slight chance that it might have drifted off, but he is the expert, and if he says that it no way could it have been carried out by the tide, it's more than likely that it was taken out of the bags and dumped elsewhere. So there we go. That's it for that witness. I'll be back with the next one in another video. So until then, bye for now.